Hello, hello. This is Real Talk, Real People. Wanted to wish you guys a wonderful, wonderful um, weekend coming up here. It's going to be amazing. For a lot of us, 3 days off in a row. For some of us, a few. For some of us, none. But in all of that, there is introspection, hopefully relaxation, fun, and grinding happening. Shout out to Hatch, man. Appreciate you popping in, man. Oh man, nothing's up. I just got off of work and I just got off a call that made me think about something, really made me consider a couple things, right? When it comes to how we treat our elders. I still a few hours on Monday because I love OT. That's the grind that I'm talking about. I'm with you on that 100%. 100%. And hey, it could be OT or it could be your second job, whatever it is. We're about that. But this call, it made me think of my grandfather. It made me think of both my grandfathers. So my father's side, that just recently passed, and my mother's side, who passed. I guess it would be about 5.5 years ago. 5 years ago. Um, I have, bro, facts, facts. Very true. Very true. But I was thinking about them because of the last call that I had at my job. I spoke to a gentleman. I ain't gonna say no names. We'll call him VW. VW is older brother, and he called, and it was an escalation. Right, there was escalation because something wasn't done, not enough context, not a clear enough communication. I looked through VW's file and I saw that there was more than a few opportunities where we could have done better, as a team, as a company. So I did apologize for that multiple times, genuinely though, because as the call went on, I explained in a very concise and understanding manner that I knew what was going on. I knew where we went wrong, and this is how to fix it. We do always like to highlight solutions, not just in what we talk about on here, but in life, in every aspect. Um, that's what people want. People want results, and that's what you give them. You don't waste their time. And when you treat people with respect, when you treat people with reverence, and you're cognizant of their time, their money, their value, and who they are as people, you get the best. You get the very best out of people when dealing with them, the very best. There is no comparison to such treatment as we see. So, as I'm going through this call, I successfully de escalated it. And, I did it in such a way that he had made a comment that my parents should be proud of the man I've become, how excellent I am, how intelligent I am. And, hearing him say that, a lot of people say things, they don't mean, but I could tell he really meant it. And, you know, I don't take compliments well. Not a lot of people do. Not a lot of real, yeah, fuck it. Not a lot of uh, real men that are about their grind. We don't really, we appreciate compliments. We don't speak on them too much. We're just busy grinding. We're on to the next thing, building, building, building. But it really spoke to me when he said that because I knew he meant it. We all go through times sometimes when we're working in corporate America or any other jobs where we run into roadblocks, right? We run into situations when we're trying to get promoted, trying to get to the next level, head the next project, whether it's corporate America or whether it's you're entrepreneur, you're your own boss. We constantly run into opposition, opportunities pass us by. Not that we weren't ready for them, but maybe that opportunity wasn't for us, or maybe it was. Maybe it went to somebody that we feel, that we believe doesn't have nearly what's on the ball. Exactly. Don't give me a compliment. Just be real without trying to be too nice. Exactly. And like I said, he was an older brother, probably in his mid 50s, this maybe 60s. He was established. You know, clearly had money based off his car, things of that nature. He's been through the ringer, right? But he advised that he had two children. One is a police officer. His daughter's a police officer, and I thanked her for her service. Um, and I thought it was when he's got a son, and he was telling his son. He told me about his son's goal to break six figures. His daughter already breaks six figures, being an officer, and she does other things as well. And she advised that she also is with the Black Caucus in the area that they're in. I thought that was awesome. And, he opened up to me, so I opened up to him. I told him my goal is to make six figures. It's been my goal for the last 4 years to make six figures prior to turning 30. I'm not 30 yet. And, you know, I'm not sure. I don't want to be negative, but I've been grinding very hard. A lot of things have not materialized. A few things have. Um, hella roadblocks, hella obstacles that have come my way. And, only by the grace of God and me grinding 24/7 will I be able to make that goal. And I have faith that I'll make it. And even if I don't, I'm going to grind as hard like I'm trying to. So I'm not too worried about it. But it is something that I've wanted for the last 4 years to break that barrier. Um, I compete with myself. I don't compete with the only other person I compete with is my father. Because I do think, based off the opportunities I've been given, that I definitely want to surpass my father, right? I understand he has so much more experience, so much more. He has different gifts than I do, and he is my threshold. It's kind of like Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball when Goku was fighting in the World Martial Arts Tournament as a kid, and Master Roshi, spoiler alert, entered into the tournament under the guise of Jackie Chun, and his whole goal was to make sure Goku did not win the tournament so that Goku would continue to aspire to greater heights and greater heights. And Master Roshi almost lost, but his experience allowed him to win and beat an Ozaru Goku, um, and evil and beat him barely, barely. And that gave Goku the fuel to keep going and understanding there's always going to be someone stronger than you. And it's time to go ahead and move to the next level and never give up and keep striving. That's who my father is for me. Um, my, my father, you know, he he grew up in the worst hood in Chicago, and he doesn't make any excuses for anything. Nothing. And he's the prime example of someone that does what needs to be done, uses the gifts that God's given him, um, strong in his faith, approachable but stern, and he's a true man. He's a male. He's a man, a real man. I have no greater example, and I feel like if I can get to be half the man my father is, or that my grandfathers were, then I will be a success. But I stopped taking that mindset, and I realized that they want me to be, and I want to be greater. And that's what it takes. It takes wanting to be greater. Now, my father didn't make over 100K until he was in his mid 30s. I haven't even touched 30, and my goal is to beat it before then. Now, Obviously, you know what they say. If you're making less than your age, you need to change some things. Now, I'm clearly making over my age, um, but I want more. I want more. I don't want to have children. I don't until I can take care of them. I don't want to get married until I can take care of uh, all of the aspects that come with that. Should I want to get married? So it's this wisdom. It's this ever striving thing, that example and standard that my grandparents, my grandfathers, my father have set for me. And Brenda's right here. Look at this one. I'm going to tell you what my grandfather tells me: do what you love and success will follow. It won't happen overnight, but it will when you least expect it. Those are wise words. That comes from somebody that's lived and experienced life. We all try to micromanage our lives. We try to plan for our lives. And, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. But one must understand, a lot of the plans that we create don't go to plan. So make a plan, but don't be distraught when you have to pivot. You have to change it. Make that plan malleable. So your grandfather's giving you great advice, great wisdom. Yeah, let me call it wisdom. Great wisdom. I can give you advice because I'm your peer. He gave you great wisdom, and I appreciate you sharing that, because that's what this stream is about: giving reverence and respect and understanding the contributions of our G Samas, our G Sans, our grandfathers, our Dudas, as we call Dada, um, whatever we call pops, whatever we call our grandfathers. You know, these are people that are tried and true. They had way less than us, and they're doing, in some respects, way better than us, as good as us. It doesn't matter. We are only to compete with ourselves and be self motivated. And if you need to compete with somebody, compete with your own old man, because you are them and they are you. Compete with your grandfather, because you are them, they are you. We're all connected. Be self motivated. Appreciate you for joining in, Fly Guy. Appreciate that. Let's see. 100K is great depending on where you live. I was making that in California, but it's much more expensive out there. As long as you can save double what your expenses are, that's a good start. That's also good as well. And you're right, it does depend. 100K in Florida is way different than 100K in California. Some would say 100K in California is probably commensurate with 60 to 70K in Florida. So yeah, so that's a good point. Basically, 100K equivalent in Florida is what I will be talking about. But you're right. As long as your savings don't go over your expenses, or your expenses don't go over double your savings, you're good. You're living within your means. You're providing yourself with a nest egg. You're providing yourself with cushion, reserves, everything. That's good advice. Something we all can learn from and live by. And you know, let me see here. That was some advice that VW gave me. He said, if you're earning less than your age, you got to change something, which is absolutely true. Let me see what else he put. I mean, really is just the whole impact and understanding of this stream is just to give thanks and give maybe share some wisdom from your grandfathers, oftentimes, uh, some people don't have grandfathers, some people don't have dads, some people don't have, elders, right? Possibly. So, your G sign, it should just means old man in Japanese, but that's G sama means a reverenced or respected old man. So it doesn't necessarily have to be blood, but if there's a older man in your life that has helped mold you, mentor you, giving you loving wisdom, now's the time to go ahead and respect and shout them out. I know this was rather impromptu, but I was just so moved by that call and the wisdom given and the understanding. You know, um, what really spoke to me was I was, he had opened up to me, and I was telling him about how I was having a hard time getting promoted, things of that nature. Some of the things that people go through, but especially some of the things that young black males go through in corporate America. And he's in the tech and other industries, worked in auto industry, stuff like that. And he was giving me some pointers on how to navigate that and circumvent that. And it's a very interesting situation where you position yourself to be able to exceed the expectations and qualifications for a position, and you still don't get an interview. It's wild. Now, of course, the workforce can be competitive, but um, like I said, that's the reason why we work 3 times as harder, and we get certifications that even people that have the positions don't have. So we can show that we're serious and that we will be good for that position or that career. But to not even get an interview is wild, you know. And I told them about that, opened up. I probably shouldn't have. I was on the clock, literally at my job. All calls are recorded. But, when people open up, um, yeah, having a black name will not alone. That's facts. That's very true. That's very true. Having a black name alone may not get you a call back. It's very true. And that's why, you know, I'm not saying, well, maybe I am saying you better hope your dad names you, right? Because the moms, and that's the problem with some of the single motherhood in our community. There's no one there to like stop and be like, yeah, don't name your son Devontavious or this and that, or crazy shit. I'm not saying it's got to be anglicized. Your name does not have to be anglicized. Okay, let's make that very clear. It does not have to be anglicized. I know that seems pretty expedient and easy. Um, if you want to do maybe a name like that, maybe make it a middle name. Or, maybe you're not looking to go in corporate America. Now, should it be that way? Absolutely not. People should be looking at your credentials, not just your name, your credentials. We know how it's supposed to be, but we know that's not the case. And that's why it's important for us to employ ourselves and employ others where we understand the name doesn't dictate your work product. Your resume dictates the work product. So until we actually start owning businesses, employing one another at all levels, low, medium, and high, we'll have to deal with that, right? But that's a good point. You know, my name, I have a pretty, I think I have a pretty safe but strong name, right? And it's just, it's a really strange situation. But anyway, he gave me the information and the advice to keep going. Um, it, he's got facts. He's got facts. People should be able to dress however you want, ink your body however you want, but as long as you're a good worker, that's all that matters. I agree. If it was really about the work product and office politics was not an issue, was not, uh, we didn't live in a world where it's uh, who you know, but what you know, I think we'd see a very different and very fast world. I think maybe we would see a more equitable world. But as long as there's nepotism, office politics, and people go off of what they look instead of, I mean, if people were really about making money and it depends on the position, they would go with the best, not always the best dressed. But it's important to be well dressed as well. I mean, that's important. Your appearance is uh, a visual indicator of how you are on the inside. Now, you could be a piece of crap on the inside, or more often than not, if you take care of your outside, we all got issues, right? All got mental issues. I don't care who you are. But you're right. The outside is the first thing they see. We're not mind readers. We haven't tapped into that power yet. So we got to go off of what they look at, what they see. Yeah, don't be dirty, but just be presentable. You are your brand. But even though, you can do everything right and things still not pan out for you. What he told me, this G-San, what G-San VW said to me was he had gone through it. He had worked hard, and he said, just don't give up. Continue to focus on your studies, these certifications you're getting, and position yourself. People, they're going to get everything they need and want out of you. You must get what you can out of them, and go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. Someone of our caliber, all of us, every person that I'm speaking to, we have so much to bring to the table, so much to offer. And it's all about being in the right place to flourish. It's like having a cactus plant seed, a cactus seed, and you're trying to plant it in the jungle. That's not going to work. Too much water will kill a cactus, and vice versa. You're not going to plant a lush apple tree in the desert. It's not going to work. So if you're a cactus seed, go to the desert and you're going to flourish. And if you're an apple tree, go to the jungle, I guess. You get my point. And those are just wise words. My family motto is work first, bullshit later. And that's absolutely true. Do what you need to do, get it done, don't mess around. And when you've accomplished what your mission is, what you set out to do, then you can relax. Because which one of us can truly say they can enjoy themselves if they know they have not done what they're supposed to do, if they have a looming obligation? Can you truly enjoy yourself? Can you disassociate from the mission long enough to actually enjoy yourself? Or is it when you've bared fruit from the effort that's when true enjoyment, true rest, relaxation, and contentment arrive? That's just me. I hear a lot of people saying, you know what, don't work yourself to death. And that's true, don't. I hear a lot of people saying, well, you got to, have fun in between time. And that's true too. Because, gone are the days where you can work for a company your entire life and have an excellent retirement or a pension or things of that nature. There is no such thing as company loyalty anymore. And company loyalty is a situation that comes from the company. A company that fosters a positive work environment for their employees will have customer loyalty. If they take care of their employees, you'll have customer loyalty. You won't have turnaround. It'll be so hard to get people in because no one wants to leave. They want to do their very best each and every day. And the only time you hire is when you're expanding. And if you're doing right and taking care of the employees, you will expand, even in economic deprivation, such as what we've gone through since 2008 and prior. So yeah, there's so much good examples of things that our G-Sans have given us. Let me see here. Let me see. I love my company. I take care of me. I make sure I give my best. Exactly. And that's how it goes. If your company's taking care of you, allowing you room to grow and growth and upward mobility, to actually have a stake in the company, you aren't going to have an issue, because that's what happens when you take the means of production and the means of ownership away from a worker. or an employee. When you compartmentalize everything to where the work, there's no stake in the work, you're going to have a dissatisfied workforce. You can see that in the whole idea of a factory job. Back then, there were people that made chairs, and they would make the whole chair. You'd have 5, 10 workers, 20 workers that make whole chairs. They each know how to make every part of that chair. Fast forward 10, 20, 30 years, and you've gotten to the point where you hired 50 people, and instead of making the whole chair, everybody makes 2/3 of a chair, and each different part. Someone makes the handle part, someone makes the legs, someone makes the base. And then you get to the point where you've got 20, 30, 40 years to however long it takes for economic and technological innovation. And now you've got automation. Now you've got a robot that makes the whole entire chair. And you just have one person, two people overseeing it. It starts out with one machine. And then slowly the workforce starts to dwindle. And you have more and more machines. And the oversight, you need less and less humans. So what has a company effectively done? To increase their bottom line, which this is capitalism, to increase their bottom line, they've effectively phased out human workers and replaced them with robots. A robot doesn't care or doesn't take pride in its work. It does what it's supposed to do. It has no stake in the company. It is there. It is simply a tool. But you can't treat humans as tools. Humans have to have a stake in what they're doing. They have to have a purpose. It has to mean something to them. And that's why people, and I've talked about this, shout out to BGS, he's talked about it, and others, about the fourth industrial revolution, which we are currently in, and how automation is going to literally change the workforce. It has. Driverless trucks, humanless warehouses. You've got AI programs that can do auto claims. And that's just to name a few. Automation in the medical field, it's going to displace a lot of workers. And that pride that people would have in doing a good job, it won't be there. It'll be all mechanized. And what are humans to do if they don't have a job? Are they going to have the means? Are they going to have the wealth? Are they going to have the ability to fulfill their every desires, to create without bounds and without any sort of hindrance? It would be beautiful if it got to the point where everyone was given a 3D printer with all the materials they need free, and they can just spend their days creating whatever they want. And if it got popular enough, they share the blueprint with other people. Self-sustainable societies, traveling across the world. Do we think we're going to get that? Probably not. It'd be beautiful. I mean, it's the only way to keep people from rioting, but it does a man good to work. It says in the Bible, a man does not eat or should not eat if he has not sweat from his brow. Basically, if you don't work, you don't eat. It's important to work for the development and character of a person. But the Lord never meant for us to work without a stake. He never meant for the disparity between a CEO and a worker and what they earn to be 38, 48, 100 times difference. He never meant for someone to do something and literally go mindless, go numb, zone out, because there's no intrinsic or intrinsic benefit to that person. The extrinsic benefit is the check that you're waiting 2 weeks for. And depending on the job, it's not enough, or it's just enough to get you to the next check. Now, of course, a lot of people would say, well, then reskill, learn to code, all these other different things, and you can do that. But for those that have obligations like a mortgage, have obligations like a family, what happens to those individuals? Or those that have not explored what their true passion is? If everyone could pursue their passion, this world we'd probably have flying cars by 2000, like we were made to believe we'd have. When people do what they love, as you see on the screen, they do and give their best. So we complain about it, or we do something about it, or we do both. He says, the worst thing for a child is a closed-minded parent. It takes a lot for someone to grow out of your way your parents taught you to be. Absolutely. And that's why it is important to have a mother and father in the family. And if you don't have a mother and father, it's important to have a G-san, right? It's important to have the yin and yang while you grow up. It's important to have the pieces to make you. Because remember, a lot of us didn't have it all. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have everything that we needed. A lot of us are guilty of having two parents and then not giving that same courtesy, that same benefit and advantage to our children. We have to take responsibility for that. Now, there are a lot of factors as to why that is, but we do know statistically children that are born within two-parent households of the biological mother and father do well. But you have others that didn't have that opportunity and still make it and still surpass a lot of us that did have the parents. So it's completely subjective. You can be the exception to the rule, or you can be the rule. But we're not going to make excuses. We're going to understand. Mentors are great. Absolutely. And it takes a special person to be a mentor, to have the patience to take someone that essentially may have no stake in your development, may not get anything from your development other than just to see you do well in life. Not every mentor is going to pass on their business to you. Not every mentor is related to you. See, a father, a grandfather, a G-san, an uncle, an older cousin, an older brother, that's a built-in mentor. But not all of us have readily available these individuals. So for a complete stranger to take an interest in the betterment of you without asking for anything from you other than to give your best and to not give up, that is a beautiful thing. We need more of them. And the ones we do have, you are appreciated tremendously from the bottom of our hearts. Because if not for you, we would not be the men and the women that we are today. Our minds would have been so closed, our views would have been so shrouded that we may fall into the same patterns of the parents that taught us and showed us. And with our parents, we experienced some of the worst ills of the world, some of the unfortunate casualties. We've seen a lot of these things. But that does not mean we don't stop trying. That doesn't mean we give up. That doesn't mean we cower, we fold. We don't fold. We may get weak, but we don't fold. We stand up. We go hard. And we overcome. That is our responsibility. That is our mission. And that is who we are. We are people that overcome. While everyone else is making excuses, we're making moves. While everyone else is worried, yeah, we're worried too. But we don't let that fear paralyze us and keep us in that bucket. And when motherfucking crabs and others that don't see the vision that we see try to hold us down, we kick they damn face and we get up out that bucket. And when we get out the bucket, when we have no reason to go back to that bucket, we lift our hands out there and we lift our hands down to that next crab that's trying to get out of the bucket. And we give them just enough leverage to get out. And we do that until that bucket is empty. Now, truth be told, that bucket will never be empty. There's always going to be crabs in the bucket. There's always going to be naysayers, negative entities, principalities against us. There'll always be somebody in the bucket. But the level of people in the bucket can be a lot smaller. The amount of people in that bucket can be a lot smaller than it is. And I think we all know that. Maybe it's done by design. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a lack of will. Regardless, we can all do better, and we will. Shout out to the grandfathers. Shout out to the G-sons. Shout out to the uncles, the fathers, stepfathers, older brothers, half brothers, step everything, cousins that mentor these young men, these young boys, and makes them into the leaders of society, the leaders of their families, the leaders of the future. We appreciate you. We salute you. And you are not going to be forgotten. We may not always listen. And you know what? Maybe your blood, your sons, your grandsons, maybe we don't relate to you. Maybe you feel like this generation, the generation after, the generation before lack so much. Maybe you can't reach your own blood, but maybe you can reach someone else's. That makes it all worth it. That makes it all worth it. A lot of people don't talk about that. A lot of people don't talk about how sometimes your father, your grandfather, your brother, the authority, the male authority in your life, sometimes can't really reach you. But you hear the same thing, or you hear it in a different way, with a different inflection, with a different intention, by someone else that you respect, you care for, that cares for you or loves you, and you get it. It resonates with you. That's fine. That's okay. Because you know what? Maybe the way your father or your elder in your life, maybe they just don't know how to articulate to you. Maybe you both are just too much alike, and in that regard, you can't see it from each other's point of view. As strange as that sounds, so it's okay to get it from somewhere else. Just make sure you get it. All right. Well, hey, God bless you all. Uh, this one was impromptu, but I just wanted to give that wisdom and the good vibes. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful Labor Day weekend. Be safe, be responsible, have fun, and be ready to grind. Be ready to grind. Real talk, real people. As always, context is everything. And keep it real. I enjoyed it too. Hey, you too, brother. You too. Be safe, y'all. Bye.